NLD. Are you ready?
I am. It's game one of a best-of-5. Winner takes home $1.4 million. The loser, just a little over $600,000. The bands will now come out. So far, Na'Vi removing the Chen. Puppy definitely plays a good one, but Ake has really been on the ball. They'll ban out the Chen. The Alliance removes the Havos Lifestealer. Still Wisp in the pool, still Batrider in the pool, and let's not forget Alliance is on the dire side. So if they want to do some either level 1 road strats or just make Na'Vi think they are, they definitely have that option.
Well, we'll definitely see level 1 Roshan if we see some kind of awesome weird hero like Ursa, but we'll table that discussion for a bit and focus a little bit about the bans here. Do you give away a Batrider? Do you give away Wisp? Do you leave both of those heroes in the pool? No, Alliance says, sure, you know, you have to pick. We're going to leave some OP heroes here.
Yeah, they're basically saying it's your choice. Let's see what Puppy wants to do, and we're going to react to it. They have the comfort of being able to react. And now, well, it will be first pick Alliance here. Let's see, what are they going to go for with that first pick?
I mean, this is a bold move for both Alliance and Na'Vi. They're saying, you know what, let's leave the broken heroes in the pool, and we'll play full-out Dota.
And the tables have turned. It's Na'Vi's turn to give away the Wisp, and they're going to see if they can defeat it. They now go for a Batrider and a Visage. Now, we have seen Visage so dominant in the laning stage. Wisp, if she gets to level 6, the game changes. But Visage is one of those heroes that can just win the game before anyone gets to level 6. And now the Alliance will pick up the Bulldog Prophet. So they had their choice. They don't go for the Lone Druid. They take the Prophet instead.
Now the difference between Lone Druid versus the Prophet here, both of Emerald Bulldog's really good heroes that Nature's Prophet will gank alongside with the Wisp. We know that Na'Vi would like to defend their heroes, they like to defend their towers, and when you have a big clash, a chaotic fight going on somewhere on the map, Prophet is the best hero to join that fight with his spells, with his ultimate, of course with his right click. So I really like this pickup over the Lone Druid, who is a little bit less mobile as a hero.
I gotta say, I'm having slight flashbacks to the International too, because right now Dendi and Havos are grinning their heads off. It reminds you of Light of Heaven in that epic game where they defeated the combo, the Naga, Tidehunter, as well as Darkseer. They've got that kind of grit on their faces now, so what's up their sleeve? We're gonna find out soon. Now the ban's coming forth. Na'Vi removing out Juggernaut, and then on the Alliance's side, a Weaver. What are they gonna ban next?
I have no idea, because trying to predict these two masters of Drafter, S4 on one side and Puppy on the other, is going to be extremely hard. So far, all of these bans looks targeted and standard. And of course, Weaver targeting Havos, one of his best heroes. And I think Puppy is planning something.
Yeah, he's at least trying to make us think he's planning something. Let's see if he actually is. It's always the mind games with him. As for S4, you've started with a Prophet as well as a Wisp. Now they're going to need some heroes that can fight. They don't have the S4 hero yet for the solo mid role. We don't know what Load is going to play as a carry. What might they run in combination with this Wisp? Na'Vi ban out Juggernaut. There is still a Gyrocopter. We've seen that a decent amount from Alliance, and it's a pretty good early to mid-game fighting hero in combination with a Wisp. But what do you think, Lumi, Chaos Knight, Tiny, these are your go-tos. What are Alliance going to combo up with it?
I think their favorite go-to hero for Alliance, at least, is going to be the Phantom Assassin. We saw that in the G1 LAN final. You park your PA, you park your Wisp in a safe lane. In fact, you can even go offensive with your Nature's Prophet and a Jungle Enchantress. Backstab gangs all day. So I'm predicting a Phantom Assassin. I'm predicting an Enchantress. But we'll see exactly what Alliance thinks.
I like this ban a lot from Na'Vi, because they remove Keeper of the Light, and Ake, as magnificent as his jungle play is, I think his Keeper of the Light just might be scarier this tournament, especially because of the style they've been favoring, which is split push, slowly and steadily accruing an advantage, distributing the resources on the map more favorably for themselves, and once they reach critical mass, then they go from taking a few pickoffs to really forcing the fights. Keeper of the Light, the best hero to kind of adapt. If you're ahead, he prevents your opponents from getting back in the game by pushing, and if you're behind, well, he hangs on while Loda farms up.
I like the fact that you brought up support heroes, because so far we have not seen the Naga Siren, who Na'Vi has given away 2 games in a row to Alliance, because you don't have a very, very...
Something's fishy here, Lumi.
Well, let's table that for a bit, and maybe it'll make sense in a bit, but...
Yeah, the Venomancer has been snapped up, and the question is going to be, how does the Alliance look to respond? Does this phase them at all? Because we have seen, I think it has been Na'Vi in the past who've taken Veno early, and sometimes it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, it's a hero that doesn't have an innate stun. He sure has damage over time, but it's very, very slow. So it gives you a great slow early on, but mid-game and especially late game, this hero does absolutely next to nothing.
It does very little compared to the other options in the pool. Like, for example, if they wanted a Keeper of the Light later on, he's very useful. In some ways, he even gets better. Venomancer, we have seen Havos play this as a farmer. I don't know if it's something we'd see this game. We'd probably expect it to be either Kuroki or Puppy's hero, but now Alliance, a third pick Veno could throw you off. So how does S4 respond?
Well, we're going to see a Gyrocopter so far here. Just a very standard and stable hero. Vengeful Spirit immediately snapped up here.
Look at the aggression from Na'Vi.
I just want to point out that we do not see a traditional carry hero on Navi's side just yet. Vengeful Spirit may be that carry hero. Venomancer may be that carry hero. Na'Vi, they've done this in the past. They farmed Venge in the past. They farmed Veno in the past. But I think Alliance has something up their sleeve. I think we might see something like a Spirit Breaker. Well, it's just my guess, but we'll see if they're going to... No, never mind. Take that back.
Hold that thought. It's going to be an Ake Enchantress. They expect a lot of aggression from Na'Vi. When you see Venomancer, Visage, and Venge, these are three of the strongest level 1 supports in the game, and one of them will be farming. So a lot of burst damage, the potential to go aggressive trying and kill anyone, even a Gyrocopter. If he gets Gelled and the follow-up is there for the Magic Missile, he is going to die. Alliance, though, Ake, I think he is in the world the best jungler to counter aggressive tri-lanes. We've seen Extinct, Puppy, fantastic gankers, fantastic at reacting, but Ake is really good at relieving the pressure on the aggressive tri-lane. So let's see if he can pull it off here. We expect Alliance to go defensive tri-lane, but the book is out now. This is where, like you said, they don't have a carry on Na'Vi, at least not a traditional one, but they do have some good Midas armor from Venge. Are we looking at a Dendi Shadow Fiend?
That could be it. Shadow Fiend, so far you don't really have a disadvantage matchup, but at the same time you're dealing with global TP, so you have to get the BKB as soon as possible. Dendi, the way that he plays the Shadow Fiend, he doesn't go BKB.
They want someone mid, and they don't want Dendi to lose his lane, so they ban out the OD. Arguably the strongest 1v1 mid in the game, definitely in the top 5 there. This does pave the way for a Shadow Fiend, but Alliance have not tipped their hand either, and they're going to get a chance to counterpick if they want whatever Dendi's snapping up. So S4 might be able to match him blow for blow. There is a Queen of Pain in the pool. Looking at the other S4 heroes, does anything else jump out to you?
No, Queen of Pain gets banned out as well, so S4 is also preparing for a very, very crazy pick for himself. He doesn't want to get countered in a sense by Na'Vi snapping up that.
Are we going to see the return of the S4 Mag this game? Because that core is so strong if you get through the lanes. Magnus, Prophet, Gyro on the Dire side with the ability that the Alliance has to just get their jungle ultra stacked. It's a bounty hunter for Na'Vi. There is no clear carry on this team, and it's just all offense. They want to face rush the Alliance.
I mean, question marks are up in the air right now. Are we going to see a Vengeful Spirit carry? Are we going to see a Venomancer carry? Traditionally, these two aren't really good at carry. You need a ton of items. You need a ton of farm.
Is it a farming Visage? I mean, to be honest, any three of these heroes could get the farm in that lane.
They can, but what we can expect out of this is a Batrider solo mid, correct?
It's probably a Batrider solo mid, most likely the Funnick Bounty Hunter to the safe lane. Na'Vi, aggressive tri-lane is coming. How will S4 respond?
Or it could be just a standard defensive tri-lane. I don't know. Like, this Na'Vi lineup is just so strange. We have never seen anything like it.
I feel like they have to go aggressive here. You're giving up. If you don't go aggressive, we've seen what the Alliance do. Because not only are they farming a Wisp and getting to level 6, they'll stack the jungle for Loda on his Gyrocopter. They will even allow Bulldog to pull some camps to secure a really fast Midas. And it's a clockwork for S4. The draft is now complete.
And it's going to be a Havos Vengeful Spirit as he selects a hero, unless we're going to see any swaps.
Game 1, the Alliance versus Na'Vi, two titans from Europe. These guys, they've only met before on land once. And the last time they met, Alliance took care of business. They took down Na'Vi 2-0. Will Puppy, will Dendi, will the rest of this Na'Vi squad, Kuroki, Havos, Funnick, will they find a way? It's been a miraculous run for them. The Fountain Hooks, we've seen as well in their last match against Orange, a bit of fate going their way. Can things continue to roll for them?
things continue. They have to continue to roll because they're not here just to say, you know what, let's go back to the grand finals for 600K.
They have tasted first place, and once you get a taste of it, there is no going back. Nothing else will do. The draft now complete. It's time to get into it. Game 1 of the International 3 Grand Finals is now underway. $1.4 million and change to the winner, over $600,000 to the loser. On the side of the Alliance, yet to drop a set, we have S4, the captain on the clockwork, Loda, your gyrocopter. EGM, the EO, will have a very quick pause, I hope. Ake on the Enchantress. And in the base, it'll be Bulldog, your nature's prophet. And on the Radiant side, Team Na'Vi, Kuroki the Visage, Havost, the Vengeful Spirit, looking like we might see a farming Venge. Dendi on the solo mid Batrider, Puppy, the captain on the Venomancer. And that leaves Funnick as your safe lane bounty hunter. The pause is going down now. Here we go. Back into game 1. What are you expecting, Lumi?
I expect a lot of kills coming on this tri-lane. This tri-lane up top is going to decide much of the early game.
Hold that thought. We'll have another pause here. So, I mean, we look at Navi's lineup right now. They have track gold. They have supports that really get out of control if they have a good start, right? You have Soul Assumption. You have Familiars if you hit a fast level 6. Venomancer, if he's ahead, can just run anyone down. If Navi gets ahead, it will be very hard for the Alliance to hold on to territory. It will be very hard to get their Wisp level 6, but if it goes the other way, if Alliance get a good start, they have the clearly superior late game.
Clearly superior mid-game as well, because when you see Alliance and they pick up BKB on Gyrocopter, what is the Vengeful Spirit going to do? What is the Visage going to do? There's really lacking physical damage. Now, with that said, Vengeful Spirit is going to give you a physical damage increase aura. She's going to give you minus armor, so there is some weapons, but it's just, I don't think that's enough.
They have some access into late game. Bounty Hunter is a pretty decent semi-carry, Venge a decent semi-carry, but you look at the Alliance, they have a Prophet, one of the strongest heroes in the late game, not in combat directly, but for his ability to farm and split push. They have a great global lineup as well. And Na'Vi, heroes that don't really flash farm. That's the other thing to keep your mind on. Batrider is a great farmer in the jungle, but Venge, Venomancer, Visage do not farm all that quickly. Bounty Hunter doesn't either, unless he decides to go for a Battle Fury, which we don't expect at all. So if Na'Vi fall behind, their ability to farm fairly limited. Alliance talking things over. They've got a moment here. They seem very calm.
Well, looks like Batrider has reconnect. I'm surprised that there is pauses going on. We do have Merlini outside, just waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I think he's had a hard week, buddy. He's taking a nap right now. Put the police cap off, and he's lying down for a snooze.
I don't think any Dota player in the world right now is taking the cap off, because this is the grand final of one of the huge, this is the biggest prize pool.
The biggest esports tournament ever.
How do you sleep during this game?
You don't.
Yeah,
you try to, we're going to wake you up. So game 1, soon to fall, underway. So we talked a lot about Navi's draft, and we don't have it on pause yet. So if you look at Alliance, I think for them, all they have to do is withstand the storm early on. Be prepared for ganks, get your wards right, don't get caught at level 1, hang on until Bulldog starts to kick in, gets his level 6. He can bail out the tri-lane. Of course, once you have S4 getting level 6, has access to hook. If Na'Vi dives that tier 1 top, and already there's a Prophet with his ult coming in, the clockwork rotates, Na'Vi could instantly lose one fight, and on that very one fight, just lose this game.
I completely agree. Although with that said, Vengeful Spirit as well as your Soul Assumption Visage, they have so much burst power that you can get that one kill and get back out. So that I think Na'Vi's going to use the speed of their killing to their advantage. Let's see, but back to your point, Clockwork as well as Prophet, once they make the TP in, that's going to be over. Yeah, it's going to be really hard.
The only team to take a game off of the Alliance this entire tournament was Team DK. And they did it a completely different way. They did it on the back of Burning going out of control in his anti-mage. They did it on the back of a really strong 4 Protect 1 mid-game lineup where once anti-mage gets 4 or 5 slotted, you go and break their base before Alliance's superior late game can kick in while you have basically while you're at the zenith of your economic advantage. But I mean, are we going to see Na'Vi win with a completely different style? This is a radically different approach.
It is different. At the same time, also somewhat similar to Game 2 with, during the winner bracket finals when they ran the TIE Hunter solo mid. It was a pushing shred, got, what, all 6 towers in 15 minutes, but they couldn't do it. So you got to hit your timing very importantly. You got to hit it right on. And this is, to me, a timing kind of based lineup. You got to make sure you knock down towers early. You got to make sure you get a ton of kills early, and you got to focus Loda. Loda was able to free farm on Alchemist on both those games, and you just don't beat a free farm Alchemist.
Yeah, Alliance has, and I think that's really what we're talking about, is the contrast in these two teams. And we can start with the carries, because you look at Na'Vi, Havost is fighting from like minute 5 to 8, and he never stops fighting. Constantly infesting Dendy as Lifestealer, constantly diving towers as Weaver, picking up kill after kill after kill. He's a lot of pressure early on. With Alliance, they asked Loda to perform a very different role. They say, Loda, we'll shoulder the burden in the early game. We will fight early, you will farm, and then later you will carry us. So it's a very different style for Na'Vi. And I mean, Loda's going to be on a hero that doesn't even fight for minute 5. Or rather, Havost. He'll be on a hero that doesn't even fight for minute 5. His hero is going to fight for minute 1.
Yes. I mean, the big difference in this game, though, also for Loda is that he can fight at minute 5 because he has a Wisp. So look towards that mid game where a chaotic fight breaks out on the other side of the map, and Loda is going to join. And with that said, it means he could farm, he could fight whenever he wants, and that's the power of Wisp. And of course, I just have to remind everybody, Na'Vi gave it away.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's, again, they knew what they were doing, just like the Alliance knew what they were doing. Now, they knew what they were doing, and for the Alliance it worked. Na'Vi know what they were doing, but will it work? That's the difference here, and that's going to be the question. Ake does have an early smoke here, so don't be surprised if we see him maybe even go for an early gank on that lane if he gets the right creeps. Enchantress, I think in this situation actually is better than Chen, because you can have 2 creeps. You know all you have to do is shut down Navi's tri-lane, and you pretty much win the game. And if he gets the 2 right creeps, he shows up at the right moment. Enchantress she's not one hero, right? She's like 2 or 3 with those creeps. So
yeah, you could actually get like three creeps in the beginning.
I think for Alliance, my hero to keep an eye on is actually going to be Ake. If Ake is a good laning stage, if he sets up a kill or 2, Alliance could just run away with game 1. But let's remember, it is game 1 of a best of 5, so Na'Vi can experiment here, and if it doesn't work, they can try something different in game 2.
I like how you're just talking about strat, and you're waiting for me to jump in.
And you're just
I'm like,
leave me hanging.
LD, you got this.
This is standard.
Because right now, we have a long pause. Can we just toss the strategy out the window for a bit? Because we've been talking about strategy for like the past 5-10 minutes.
Let's toss it out.
I want to know who in the crowd is cheering for Na'Vi, and who is the crowd cheering for Alliance. So, Na'Vi? Is that okay?
I was lukewarm. On the other side, of course, we have the Alliance.
I think Alliance is...
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
I think they're anxious for the game to start.
Me too.
I'm a little anxious. We're only giving away $2 million and change from this one best of 5. No big deal. It's just... It's the biggest Dota games that have ever been played.
This is somewhat nostalgic, like going back to your old Dota 1 tournaments, and there was nothing but disconnects. There was nothing but like wait times.
All that training, Lumi, it's prepared you for this moment.
Yeah, and you know, is it working well? Is the training going well?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We're still paused here. Both teams, I imagine, get a little antsy. They want to get game 1 underway. So we actually haven't done our predictions, Lumi. I think we can put ourselves on the record here and then be forever flamed and shamed if we're wrong. Predictions? We're actually going to unpause, so real quick.
3-2 Na'Vi.
3-2 Na'Vi. Oh, man, a bold prediction from Lumi. I'm going to go with the safe and stable bet here. I'm going to say Alliance take it 3-1. And on that note, we're back underway. Game 1, Alliance versus Na'Vi. Here we go.
Very, very good defensive warding here coming out all both camps. But of course, Wisp got the first ward down, so look towards this one being immediately dewarded, which allows Alliance to actually set up some ganks in the mid lane. There you go. Bye-bye, ward. You were on the stage for like 5 seconds.
It was a short and not so sweet life. And that's actually a big deal. Not having that ward for Na'Vi when you're running the aggressive tri-lane against an Enchantress means if Ake decides to gank without a smoke, they're not going to see it coming. Now, remember that in the old versions of Dota, or even in the previous patch, you could buy 2 sets of wards at level 1. Now you only get 1 set of observer wards before the creeps spawn.
So Puppey could just deward this if he wants to do so. Choosing not to do it yet has another ward over here on this side. That is going to be important, but at the same time means you do not have sight in the jungle. And not having sight in the jungle against an Enchantress is almost suicidal. That first deward meant so much for Alliance.
All right, so Alliance is actually doing something very different here. Looks like they want to dodge that aggressive tri-lane. They're going to send their gyrocopter as well as Wisp to the bottom lane. And early on, that puts Funnick in a 1v2 against a dual lane that, if they have sentries, could definitely kill him. And they've got one on EGM. He's got to be careful here. He does not have boots. Normally, Funnick has boots, but it looks like he was expecting the Prophet versus Bounty Hunter matchup. And if you have that matchup, you really want the Poor Man Shield. Poor Man Shield is not going to help you too much against Wisp and Gyrocopter.
Well, it's going to help a little bit with the harass coming out from Wisp, but for the most part, he's coming right in. There is a Sentry War on the ground. If he gets Tether Stun here, ooh, nothing just yet. Funnick coming in, sapping a little bit of experience. Obviously, we expect this lane to go towards Loda and as well as EGM. 2v1 against a melee hero. It should be fairly easy. What about mid here? S4 on his Clockwork against one of those most dominant mid hero, Dendy's Bat.
Yeah, Clockwork's pretty good against Bat because you have the cogs if he ever really wants to go on you. If he dives you at your tower, sure, there's Firefly, but you have the Battery Assault. And getting those mini stuns off, maybe you disrupt him for a moment. I think it's an okay match for S4. He's going to lose the lane, but his goal is just to get level 6, hang on, and angle for mid-game dominance. If Bulldog's not dying here in the top lane, I think that's pretty much what they're looking for. Havost does, or rather Funnick, has to be very careful bottom. So early on, looking at this tri-lane Lumi, do you think we're going to see any unusual skill builds from Navi? Because these are generally support heroes, all three that they're running here. Or is it possible they get aggressive and just play sort of your standard kill early on support style builds?
Already right from get-go here, if you look at Puppy's skill build, he has selected his passive Poison Sting. Generally, you always go Venomous Gale as it is one of those strongest early game spell. And I think the reason that he has gone for Poison Sting, as we do see a gank on the Centaur. Nice stomp here. Any gonna be killed? Deny here. Looking for Ake, and they are gonna get denied.
Beautiful
No
deny.
early game EXP and go for you guys. And the reason you go for Poison Sting is it actually helps you for a push. It gives you like 5 extra damage-ish. It's I mean, there's no other reason to really go for Poison Sting early on.
Basically, you can hit each creep once, and then they'll slowly tick down. Whereas if you go for the Gale, you're not going to spam it. Gale, very expensive in terms of mana at the early levels. We'll see Funnick pick up a nice regen, and I'll head back to the bottom lane. So if you're Alliance, your goal is to not fall too far behind in the laning stage. You have the mid-game to fall back on, and so far, they're not dying. We see Ake getting good levels out of the jungle. You look at Navi's tri-lane, and their supports are both level 1. S4, in terms of the middle lane, sitting 11-1 to the 12-3 of Dendy. I think everything's going quite well here for the Alliance. The pressure is on Navi, not on the Alliance.
Exactly. When you run an offensive tri lane, you need to get things done quick and early. And of course, there's a ticking time bomb on the bot lane here, Alliance with EGM on the Wisp. Once he hits a level 6, suddenly this game transforms to something completely different. Of course, Gyrocopter is one of those early game carry heroes that could get into these team fights. So look towards Loda as well as EGM playing very close to each other throughout this game and looking to set up kills all of them now.
All right, Ake smoked up, heading towards the middle lane. Dendy, no mana right now. The courier's about to come in. It should have his boots as well as his bottle. And this might be an opening, but he's head up to the high ground. And it looks like the moment may have passed. Rocket coming in, canceling Dendy's bottle charge. Ake will decide that's not a good gank. He'll back off, and he's going to head back into his own jungle. Does he actually want to make it go on top? Because this is not a very strong ganking combo. I think he's just going to sit back here.
If he could get Kuroki somewhat out of position with the Centaur Stomp, he does have a clap creep now as well here.
S4's really playing well in this middle lane, just constantly using the cogs, burning Dendy's mana, preventing him from being aggressive, but it's bottom lane where they've gone in on Funnick. He's dropping pretty low. There's another Rocket Barrage. There's still a Dust here. It's First Blood, and it goes to the Alliance.
Very, very early. Oh, Loda.
Oh.
It's going to survive. That was pretty close.
That Tango, that Salve, making the difference here. And it's what we talked about. I mean, Wisp, Gyro do have the power to kill a bounty early on.
Yeah, and of course, I think they might be going for a second one here. As the creep wave is pushing in, there's another dust available. That's going to cool down for about 30 more seconds. So look towards Alliance making yet another play under the tower very soon.
Yeah, they killed off Funnick in the bottom lane. The mid lane, they're trading evenly. The Prophet top lane for Bulldog has not died. They're running a jungler. The supports of Navi are only level 2 to the 3 and 4 of Alliance. Alliance is already pretty damn far ahead on the better late game lineup.
Yeah, so far seems like this Navi early game kind of rush strat on the top lane has not really been panning out. Of course, Funnick's got to be very, very careful on the bot lane. Dust is ready to go right now, and if Funnick's not careful enough, a single Dust will be the death of him. Keep in mind that he cannot win walk away. In fact, if he decides to win walk away, he'll be slowed down by the Dust. 10% slow on the newest patch.
We're 5 minutes in, golden experience is even, and Funnick is getting close to level 6, but now the phase boot's coming out for Loda. A very slow, a very deliberate start for both teams. There is so much on the line. You drop game 1, all of a sudden, the series gets a whole lot harder for you. Navi, they've gone for something very unconventional with their picks. Can they make it work? So far, we're not seeing it, but we do have to remember their ability to find kills in the mid game is outstanding. So much burst, so much lockdown. But for the time being, they need a few items and a few levels to make it happen.
Yeah, very interesting adjustment of skill build.
Round two, wrapping around. Dendy in a bit of trouble here. There's two Hellbear Smashers, but he's going to head north. Hooked and caught out by S4, but he heads north again. Juking here, jiving there, and he's going to dodge it. Up to the tree line he goes. He's got no TP, but he's got stick charges in the south. We'll head back into the river. The Hellbears are there. Clap number one, but it looks like he should live. No, double clap, but he's got boots. He's still got the stick charges. Should be fine. Meanwhile,
Rocket's gonna hit, cancels the south, Dendy, dropping precariously low. But
meanwhile, in the top lane, it looks like they made a go on Bulldog. He's forced back to base, but now gets his boots and has 600 gold. He's against an aggressive tri-lane. He has not died. He hasn't lost his tower, and he's not that far off of a Midas. Could have won by like the 8 to 10 minute mark.
Yeah, this is one of the strangest pushing tri-lane I've ever seen. I mean, if you look at their skill build here, you have 1 point into play work, so they are going to get a tower here. Ake trying to deny it with the creep. You also have Kuroki getting a point in early Gravekeeper's Cloak, expecting some kind of early game dive, but with a tier 1 tower going up down, I think we are going to see Puppey as well as Kuroki starting to make some rotation towards the mid lane.
Yeah, meanwhile, the ticking time bomb you spoke about, EGM in an aggressive dual lane as a Wisp is already 1 level from 6. And then you have to look at Na'Vi. Havost pretty survivable with his phase boots, but Puppey 560 HP at max with just basic boots. Kuroki 682 and the Gravekeeper's Cloak to help keep him alive. These heroes, if they get caught by relocate, they're just dead. I mean, they are flat out not going to live through that.
Yeah, it's very important to get basically 4 staves or blink daggers, any kind of instant mobility item to get you away from those relocates.
And in order to do that, you need to farm. And you look at their supports, they're not getting a whole lot.
Exactly. They're not getting too much ganks off. They're not getting too many tower kills. And because of that, under level, under farmed, and Na'Vi struggling on this early game. When DK beat Alliance, they were doing quite well. They were, I think, winning every single lane. So Na'Vi definitely not going down that route to secure a win. Let's see how they could do it.
But this is a very kind of classic Na'Vi lineup in the sense that it can snowball really hard. And that's what Na'Vi's always been about. Aggression in the first 10 to 20 minutes of the game, sometimes even in the first 5. So far, the aggression yet to come. 8 minutes in, but you gotta know it's only the calm before the storm. And here comes S4. Level 3 battery assault, the more aggressive killing build. He wants to find a pick. He's up in the Na'Vi jungle, hunting, heading towards the bottom lane.
There's a courier.
There's level 6. There's some TPs on Na'Vi. Oh, Funnick gonna be spotted out, but there's no gem here. And now the rotation coming in from Ake. He'll pick up a creep as well. They're gonna rotate Puppey off the top lane. Both teams now Ake healing up, Funnick driven back. They're not going to find any kills yet, but with the dust that should be on the Wisp, yeah, there still is a dust charge. If they try to go again, it could go south, but here they go. On to Ake, DD for S4. Ake dropping fast, he's going to fall, but S4, he's found Funnick, now tethered, blown up by the Ake creep, fighting from beyond the grave. Now Kuroki, sprouted, locked in place, but here comes Big, bad Dendy, but no, it's too much damage from Loda. 3-1. Already Na'Vi on the back foot.
We just talked about Loda generally not liking to join early game fights because he wants to farm, but this game making the quick rotation, helping out his allies. Of course, EGN came first, and of course, even though there was a track kill that went the way of Na'Vi, it was like a 1 or 2 person track kill, so Alliance coming out ahead, and they are staying ahead because they are winning every single lane right now.
And you look at Alliance, they don't need gold nearly as much as they need experience, and they are leading in terms of experience. Every single hero level 5 or higher. That Wisp for EGM, 1 creep wave most likely off of level 6. And once he hits level 6, Na'Vi, a lineup that wants to push early, a lineup that wants to find a lot of kills. When you are ganking, you'd better be ganking the Wisp or the Prophet, and ideally both, because if not, then they're just going to counter-gank the crap out of you.
Funnick is scouted. If this one, the Wisp, there you go, they know exactly where he is now.
The orb's going to start splashing, and Funnick will rotate back for the time being. EGM, he knows how close to level 6 he is. He needs that 1 creep, and now he's got it. So the threat of relocate, it's on the board, the Alliance. Lumi, they've weathered the storm through the laning stage, and you got to say, although to a new fan of Dota, this might look like a dead-even game, strategically, it's a huge advantage for the Alliance.
Yeah, and of course, if you look at Navi's, the way they're playing right now, all 4 or 5 are hovering very close to the mid lane. They are losing out in terms of farm and experience. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have EGM and Ake in the jungle, just getting some tiny bit of a go experience. You have Loda just straight up farming up top. So I think the Alliance is getting a ton more out of the map. And it's really hard to make a dive on S4 in the mid lane. He is so tanky, almost at 1200 HP with a full magic wand charge. There is no way they're going to get a kill on S4 without committing 4 or 5 onto him.
Yeah, they have to blow a lot, and I think it's worth it to blow a lot if you can secure a kill. But if you go on S4, then that's where relocate comes. The Prophet ult now online for Bulldog. They have to dive those counter gankers, and even S4 is a counter ganker because all the towers are up aside from the tier 1 top. Na'Vi, they need to find a gank fairly soon in the next 3 to 5 minutes, I would say, for sure. They don't have the Dendi Blink yet. It's a key item for the ganks to work. But while they sit back, Loda's rushing a BKB, and if he gets one, you look at Na'Vi, and you talked about physical damage and their lack of it, and that hasn't changed for me. Funnick just has a bottle, boots, a poor man shield. He doesn't have any damage items. Nobody really does. There's a little bit of damage coming from Havost, but if he gets a BKB on this gyro, Na'Vi are going to have a very hard time killing Loda.
Yeah, Havost only gets that physical damage when he levels up and max both his smaller spells, the Wave of Terror as well as Vengeful Aura, but she's nowhere near the levels that she needs to be.
Meanwhile, Bulldog just chilling bottom lane. Funnick, though, he's going to start here with the Janata now, applying the right clicks, but there's a Sprout on Funnick. He might be in trouble. S4's rotated in. No detection yet. Here's your relocate. They really want this pesky bounty hunter, and they'll find him. The Alliance, they got poked, and they bit back hard.
Getting a free kill basically on the bot lane and not losing any kind of momentum anywhere else. There's no push in the mid lane.
And
perhaps we're going to see
right
Gale.
into mid. Here we go.
Okay,
they're looking for 2.
Oh,
Hook to fly. They've caught Puppey as well. Callout's coming in. Dendi's down. 6-1. Alliance already out of control, barreling down the middle lane. This is looking bad for Na'Vi.
We said in the early game drafting stage that if Alliance wins, just come out even. In the early game phase, they will just be unstoppable during the mid game. Not only have they came out even, they've done so much more. They're winning by the kills, they're winning by experience, they're winning by gold. Alliance is about to take a tier 1 tower. And how do you stop this? Going to go on the S4 on the mid lane. Tower is already dead and looks with a tether stun. Oh, Swap coming back in here. Can they get a kill on S4? They're blowing everything onto him, and they are going to get the kill. That was very important. A 4-man track kill. Funnick doing his work, and, well, Na'Vi finds something.
Yeah, the one guy that really would have liked that extra 50 gold is Dendi, of course. He's getting closer to his Blink Dagger. He will have it soon. Na'Vi definitely have a few more runs of aggression in them, and every time that a gank works, every time they get a couple of heroes with a track kill, they extend their lease on life in this game. They're not out of it yet, but they're the ones who have to force the fights, and if you're Alliance, you can take fights, but you don't have to. If you're Alliance, you want to be careful, though. Track Gold has a way of sneaking up on you. All of a sudden, Funnick shows up with drums, with phase boots. The next few fights later, he's got a BKB. Dendi's got a 4-staff. Then Boots of Travel. It creeps up on you, and then all of a sudden, you're like, man, where did all those items come from? I thought we were winning this game. So for now, Alliance ahead, but they will want to play it safe. And one of the big items that will allow them to play it safe is going to be this BKB on Gyro. It's coming very, very soon.
Yeah, because of that, I feel like Na'Vi basically have about 1 minute or 1 minute 30 seconds to make something happen on the map, because once BKB is up on Gyrocopter, and now because of there's a mech up on Emerald Bulldog as well, there is just nearly none of that on Na'Vi to do anything. How do you kill Loda? And meanwhile, of course, when you're not killing him, he's killing everybody else with the call down on max flat cannons. Yeah,
and then the other thing is, a lot of these heroes really don't do much against that BKB. You look at Visage, he has Familiar, sure, he's got a mech to help keep his own team alive, but most of his damage is the Soul Assumption in the early to mid game, and he's not going to be hitting that hard. Puppey, virtually useless against BKB heroes unless he gets off a Gale and advance.
Oh, they see.
Here they go, though. Havost, easy pickings for S4. Brought down by a hook, jams it in, and now it's 7-2. Havost, he's their one position player this game. I mean, you look at some of these other heroes, maybe they can carry the load, but he's really the only physical damage dealer, and that death, not going to help too much.
Havost going for SMY, and either that gives you a little bit of something in all categories.
It could be an Ag Scepter. That's the other possibility.
Sure.
But SMY...
Actually, it does look like an Ag Scepter.
Yeah, if it's an Ags, I mean, the nice thing with an Ags Venge is that you have Nether Swap constantly available for fights. The cooldown is only 10. But that doesn't necessarily help you if the Alliance just have the superior 5-man.
Yeah, of course, what does Acceptor do for you when
against Loda, for example?
Right, when you swap in and then you die, because there's so much focus fire on Alliance's part but they will try to make something happen. That swap was what gave them the kill on S4 on the mid lane, but if you look at the alliance, when they could Rosh, they will Rosh, and there's just no way that Na'Vi could stop this.
The Rosh is dropping fast, but Dendi wants to contest. He's coming in with Firefly. Are we going to see an Aegis steal? Rosh is low, not dead yet. They're backing off, they're going in. He can't make up his mind, and now it's too late. Firefly's over. S4 back into the pit, covering his team. Rosh to fall. It goes to the Alliance. The Aegis on the Dota, and now a hook on a boast. He's overstayed his welcome here, swapping in Kuroki. Kuroki says, "Get me out of here, man!" And he can't. He'll fall. It's a headlong retreat now. Bulldog teleporting forward, creating another base of attack. Now a call down to Fly. They've lassoed Bulldog. He's still alive though. He's not even dying. 3 dead. No track kills for Na'Vi, and they're not going to get any. Make it 4. Na'Vi down 2-11, and they're going to GG.
Oh my god.
GG.
16-minute GG, and they're going to get that final last kill. Alliance just dominating Na'Vi. 3-time finalists, but it does not matter at all.
The Alliance not even slightly phased. Na'Vi went for a very unorthodox strat. Very little access to late game. Heavy pressure on the lane.